How's everybody doing? Well, this is now a different atmosphere than we're doing. This is Jupiter in Virgo. Jupiter in Virgo. The sign of the magician. The magician. As you know, Virgo does have many functions. This is right here. This is the witch side of Virgo, as you know, or the shaman or the babalao, you know. So we cannot talk about Virgo without talking about, thank you, without talking about the magical aspect of Virgo. Don't forget that some of the best witches on the planet are Virgos. Now, pulling from the opposite polarity of Pisces, the sign of the seer, right? There is the stone that belongs to Pisces, which symbolizes the opposite polarity of Virgo. Right? So, Jupiter in Virgo is a little difficult. Yeah, it's a little difficult. Jupiter in Virgo, well, this is why we are, you know, doing this, you know, in nature. As you know, Virgo rules nature, you know. It's mutable earth. All kinds of trees, all kinds of vegetation. These are dark roads. See, this is a sleepy town. But you could hear crickets, birds. There are all kinds of different species of trees all in one place, you know? And of course, we gotta give Papa Legba his due. And this is why the crossroads. This is ruled by Papa Legba, or the trickster. Which way? Which way? Which way? Which way? Right here. The crossroad. Here is a portal. There's a portal in every crossroad, especially when you see it going in 4 different directions. Right? So, now that we know that, what is it that Jupiter in Virgo doesn't seem to work very well? You see, Jupiter, before Neptune was discovered, was the classical co-ruler of Pisces, making Virgo the opposite of Pisces, its detriment. So, what are we going to focus on? The entire forest or a particular tree? What's more important? This pineapple palm or this Spanish moss, which has been here for about 2,000 to 3,000 years. There are trees here that are thousands of years old, and they stay the same. They don't change, but you can see all kinds of different vegetations and different degrees of green. This tree, this tree has 17 different shades of green. And of course, and here we have another species. You know? So, and then of course, you have the complexity of the moss. What's more important? This, the moss, which is very good, you can make good tea with this. It helps cure lupus, but many scientists don't know that. Or do you go for this type of leaf in the Spanish moss tree? That can give you a different pharmaceutical than the actual nerve grid of the moss. Yet, these are very living beings. It's quiet here. Oh, and look how they just come right down. The forest from the trees. And I had to make the analogy of nature because Virgo can get so lost and so caught up in the details that he loses sight of the whole picture. And it's never the other way around with Virgo, because Virgo is already very details oriented, very specific, a true surgeon if he wants to be. But you get lost in the details that you forget what is it that you are detailing that will service the bigger whole. That sometimes gets lost in translation when it comes to Virgo. Jupiter in Virgo in particular. So again, let us describe and prescribe the functional modalities of Virgo, right? Or of Jupiter. Oh, Jupiter in Virgo here, yeah, you should do an offering at the crossroads for him. Already been there, already done that. But I sure will. You know, Elegba loves his gin, and I got this nice little juicy Malga. It's called Ice Smirnoff. You know, again, I'm not drinking too much hard liquor these days because of the heat of the tropics here. But here we go. Here, let's do a drop to Papa Legba. Open the crossroads. This offering, a gift. There he goes. Oh, it's gonna be fun, and it's Friday too. You know, that's when the freaks come out at night. You know. Too bad the clubs are closed and the bars are closed. This COVID-19. Damn. This is the leg buzz time. It's actually my time too. That's where I like to get freaky and fun. You know. Right here. Of course, I'm renting this house here, or I'm renting a, or well, it belongs to Madeline, and she's renting it, and we're now both doing it together, and I just love it here. But I tell you, anyone that lives, including Madeline, on these streets with the crossroads so close by, represents those who have the gift. But here we go again, talking about Jupiter in Virgo. What is more significant? The offering, or is it important to go to a particular direction? And will each direction award us the same experience? Because, you know, experience is a relative term. But when you're lost in the minutiae of things, it's difficult to see the forest from the trees. So this is an organizational problem with Virgo. This is why they say that Virgo is a better follower than he is a better leader. Uh, when it comes to work and industry, which is very Virgo, there tends to be a bipartisan attitude with Virgos about what they feel should call their attention and what should not call their attention. You know, they're quite discriminatory. They're not as lucid as one would think or one might be brought to believe. Well, this is, of course, a game, depending on which four Virgo types you know, with Jupiter and Virgo. Because with Jupiter and Virgo, there tends to be a real blind spot when it comes to understanding the meaning and purpose of the whole, rather than getting lost in the specifics of what one is looking for. Secular obsession is not uncommon with Jupiter and Virgo. Now, what does secular obsession mean? It means that you get locked in, tied in to a modality of being and don't stray or move from that modality of being. And this can cause complications. You know, this can cause complications. Virgo also is the sign of health. And because Virgo is so tight-lit in being in control, it's quite possible that with Jupiter in Virgo, instead of awarding you good health, it might actually make you worse off than what you are. Because Virgo is a very nervous sign and likes to be in control and likes to have a little piece of the big pie carved out to himself, not even caring about the rest of the pie. Um, with with Jupiter in Virgo, if you're dealing with someone that's insecure or below age 30, the effect of Jupiter could be actually worse or not very good with Jupiter in Virgo, because there is a tendency to develop nerve trouble. This is a plantain plant, Dominican platano. This is one species of that platano plant or tree. It's still growing. So understand that Jupiter is in detriment in Virgo for a reason. It doesn't seem to give Virgo assurance or even peace of mind. Because talking about the mind, Virgo's mind never rests. And those with Jupiter and Virgo are quite known and common of suffering from headaches and having problems with their intestines or bowel movements or Crohn's disease or irritable bowel disease. Because um, Jupiter is an amplifier and Virgo is a worrier. So when you add an amplifying planet to a warrior sign, it is not a good combination. Saturn, on the other hand, works better in Virgo than Jupiter does. Because Saturn is a fellow earth sign like Virgo, ruling Capricorn. And Virgo is very comfortable in harsh conditions and strict discipline. And oops. I think Saturn in Virgo seems more productive and more or less nerve-wracking than Jupiter in Virgo, where it tends to give you the total opposite. Yeah, yeah. Then what do you do? What do you do? I'll tell you. But first, a little drink. A little drink. Well, it got really late. So it got really late. I live over here. It's really late, really, really, really late. The sun falls and drops quickly, very fast. Okay, question or two from some of you. Yes, we are in Jupiter, and I always do Virgo on the what? You always do Virgo on the road. Yes, because the roads and highways and intersections are all ruled by Mercury, the trickster, the demonic aspect of Mercury. And he rules both Virgo and people that like to have sex in the park and like to have sex out in the street and in the open. That's all Electbox children. That's all Virgo and Gemini. It certainly was when I was younger, and for many other Virgos and Geminis and people with these signatures and positions in their birth charts. Another question. What question do we have here? How are we able to control it, especially with Moon in Capricorn? Well, control what? Charon in Virgo. Okay. Hello, holla. I'm a Sag, but used to be very nervy when younger and worry like, man. Of course, I'm telling you. A lot of, I do say that Jupiter is the great benefactor. Jupiter falls in the horoscope is what there's going to be good luck and prosperity. But that is not always the case. Jupiter can actually bring you the opposite. But then again, it really depends on how you use that energy because you can amplify anything, good or bad. It's neutral. So the jury is out on that one. That's a question it's a question of relative point of view. And look, Saturn. I always bitch about Saturn being the devil. It is, and that it causes the misery and pain. It does. But at the end of the day, it awards us the opportunity and the ability for us to grow and to learn from our experiences, however painful they may be. Also, with Jupiter in Virgo, there is a propensity to, on a positive note, delve into the scholastic regions, you know, deal with school and education, teaching, you know. Some of you might go and teach at universities, colleges, do lectures, do blogs, and be a blogger. There's so much that can be done with, but again, it's very controlled and very tight lid because with Jupiter in Virgo, there really is no relaxing of the mind. This position does get better when you are much older, especially if you know what you want out of life and you know how to pursue it. It's dark. It gets so dark that you can barely see ahead 5 to 10 meters. The reason why it's light is because I'm underneath a street light. But once I move out of it, it's complete darkness. And this is also a leg bar. This is also Mercury and also Virgo. Mutable air with mutable earth. These are also portals and areas where a lot of beings, extraterrestrials, that don't necessarily come in spaceships, can actually enter and leave. Another portal And something that many practitioners and santeros and babalaos will do a lot is that the telephone poles are also sources of electricity and conductivity, and we use them very much in magic. We can send all kinds of messages by projecting our thoughts to the wire and sending the energy right to the source. A form of wireless mental remote connecting instead of remote viewing, which is also very real. But that's more Uranus than Mercury. So, when you have Jupiter in Virgo, you can be a very, very powerful babalao, powerful magician, full of knowledge and the capacity to do real, real good. For the way I'm dressed is all Jupiter, white and red, down to my shoes. Down to my shoes, right? My shoes are red, right? So these are the colors of Jupiter, white and red. And this is how Jupiter in Virgo looks like. So we could be the consummate magician. Or we can be regular human beings and punch the clock and go to work and spend the whole day at work, do our work, do somebody else's work, and just be happy, consumed with work. Yeah. The mosquitoes are beginning to bite. So now let's go back inside. I feel like I'm just doing, it's a beautiful walk in the neighborhood. It's a beautiful walk in the neighborhood. Don't you mind? Don't you mind? Won't you be my neighbor? Come on in. Oh, lordy, 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 lordy. You always have to have a mirror right in front of your door. So if any people try to bring evil eye, the mirror captures the ray. Pack. You can do a lot of magic with mirrors. So you see, ladies and gentlemen, Jupiter in Virgo can be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. It really, really depends on how you use the energy. It really depends. Gotta clean myself, right? From coming outside because I was just in a crossroad, in a portal. Make sure I don't bring anything in. And then, of course, a little bit of agua de Florida, you know. This is, we call this voodoo juice. Voodoo juice. Mm. 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 There's nothing else like it. And it helps with the mosquito bites. You know, this is deep country now. Yeah, yeah. Cut it all out. Guys, please don't forget to donate. Some of you have given money, but I don't know if that's for a reading or if that's actual donation. Let me know so then I can do a reading if that's what it is. So thank you if it's a donation for content. www.paypal.me/thepeoplesastrologer.com, or if you want a reading, I'm up most of the night, but it will be past midnight since I'm booked between now and the rest of the evening. I'm booked between now and midnight. So any readings, it has to be after midnight. It is Friday. I do work until 5 a.m. I do have to do a novena, pray for someone who has stage 4 cancer. And I was asked to do a novena and pray for that person. Thank you guys, and I talk to you soon.